What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to continue our lake breakdowns in Oklahoma. We just finished up Broken Bow, so if you missed that one, make sure to go check that out. That was a pretty cool looking lake and tons of fun to break down. Now we're moving over to Fort Gibson. So I'm out here on the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Site just to see what kind of information that we can get about Fort Gibson. You can see here it was operated by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, impounded in 1953. Fort Gibson is the last lake in the Grand River chain and is subject to drastic lake level fluctuations. That means it could get tough, right? Located near Wagner, Oklahoma, Fort Gibson Lake can be accessed through numerous U.S. ACE areas and 2 state parks, and is very popular for all types of recreation. It's a highly productive lake where the Ozarks meet the Central Region Plains. Rocky bluffs and outcrops dominate the east side of the lake, and shallower and gradual slopes on the west side of the lake. We're going to see a lot of that as we go through the Google Earth breakdown. Let's scroll down here a little bit because this is where it tells us what kind of fish they got in the lake. We've got largemouth bass, we've got black crappie, white bass, paddlefish, blue catfish, channel catfish, flathead catfish, striped bass, sunfish bluegill, sunfish red ear, and sunfish green. This is very similar to what we saw on Broken Bow. Basically, if you want to catch a fish of any type, these are the lakes that you need to go fish. Oklahoma fishing is pretty cool. You guys definitely need to go check it out. Let's switch over and let's look at this thing from the Google Earth side, and then we're going to switch over the final part using the Simplistic Fishing mobile app, and we're going to look at the contours on this lake and take a look at the offshore stuff. So it should be lots of fun. Let's go ahead and switch over. Now we're going to take a look at Fort Gibson Lake from the Google Earth standpoint and kind of show you guys how this thing was broken down. But I guess before we do that, let's take a look over here at the left-hand side. I just want to show you what all lakes we've got broken down in Oklahoma so far. Several of them that are out there: Arcadia, Broken Bow, Chimney Rock, Dripping Springs, Ucha, Eufaula, Fort Gibson, Grand Lake, Hudson Lake, Lake of the Arbuckles, McGee, Murray, Okmulgee, Sardis, Spavinaw, Stanley, Draper, Ten Killer, Thunderbird, and Waurika. So we've got a lot of the Oklahoma lakes done, so definitely go check them out. But tonight we're going to focus on Fort Gibson. So let's take a look at this one. You can see we've got, really what we do is we go through and we see what all we can find on the lake, right? And then we break it down into different categories. And so here on the left, you see the categories we broke it down to. We got fish attractors. Those are put out there by the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife, Conservation of Wildlife. We got bridges and culverts, which is cool now because now that we have the contour mapping from Navionics on our mobile app, we can see where all the bridges and culverts are instead of having to mark them all. But this was prior to that, so we'll look at those. We've got channels and ditches. This is really key as well. We'll go through those. Cover and structure, that's always big. Laydowns, debris piles, junk like that. Offshore spots are big. I talked about that. We'll look at that on the mobile. Ramps and slabs, those are great fishing areas. And then the rocky areas on this lake. So let's start off by just looking at the fish attractors. There's several of them on this lake. You can see they're all kind of in different little areas. Your first batch of them is down here on the right, down here by this little roadway that comes in, which that's probably pretty good to fish around too. Looks like some kind of old roadbed, or maybe that's just power lines. But anyways, you got a couple fish attractors down there. You got a few more that are up in this area as well. And those are always good places to fish. You know, some people say, oh, those fish attractors are no good. Yes, they are. They attract bait fish. The bait fish usually attracts the crappie and all that other fish. And anytime you got bait fish and crappie, somewhere very close by, you've got some bass hanging out. And so those attractors can definitely be good places to fish. So don't listen to the hype when they say these attractors are no good. They're good. Anything that's put in the water, especially when the places that they put these in, it's going to attract fish. It just has to, right? And that's why they put them there. They put them there so we can catch more fish. So there's all your attractors. We've also got bridges and culverts, right? So this is going to be all the bridges and culverts that we marked that we felt like really were going to be in play, right? Which is quite a bit. And we'll see this out when we move over to the mobile app too. But if you've never gone out on a trip, a bass fishing trip, and just focused on fishing underwater bridges and culverts, you're missing out, because I'm telling you, it's a great pattern, especially during some times of the year. And when you can find these culverts that are maybe a little bit further back, right? So as we get into fall and they start moving them back a little bit, when you find these places, these are great stopping spots for fish. And right here, it might not make much sense, but when I show it to you on the contour map, you're gonna see where all these are at, and then based on the contours around and stuff like that. So some really cool stuff. You've got a lot of them. Got them down here. You got quite a few down here on the south side. You got a few right in here off of this point, so that's probably like an old, right? If you see the bridges, you know there's road beds too. So anytime you see the bridges, you got to look around them, scan around them, and look for the road beds, the debris from the road beds, the rock and stuff like that. Lots of good stuff back in this cove. You got some good stuff, some culverts and stuff you could check out. Up here on the north side, you've got bridges. You can got bridges out here, up here, and really in the channel that's really far up there. So lots of good stuff. Definitely good stuff to fish around. All right, next up we got channels and ditches. And so channels and ditches, basically what we do is we go out, we mark where all the ditches are that we can find, and then we also mark these channels. And the reason we mark these channels is so that you can fish in them, right? So the water's up here, so this channel's pretty obvious. This one may not be as obvious, but you can see that we've marked the channel when the water was down, so we knew exactly where it was. And so we've got these marked throughout the lake. And anytime you fish, if you're out there fishing, maybe you're new to fishing, or maybe you don't have much time to fish, focus on the areas where you can see these creeks. If you see creeks coming in, it means you've got oxygen coming in, you've got extra water coming in, all kinds of good stuff that produces fish, right? So if you see these areas where there's a lot of creeks coming in, those are going to be higher percentage spots than maybe going in the back of one of these that don't have a creek and trying to fish that, right? You're better off getting around those creeks for sure. And sometimes those creeks are in the back, right? So that's a seasonal thing. So I gotta be careful when I say that's definitely seasonal. But if you can find the creeks or find the main coves where the main rivers come in, those are gonna be typically your higher percentage areas. All right, let's talk about cover and structure, because there wasn't too much on here, but you can see we marked quite a bit. We've got some trees that are out here that you can fish around. Pretty cool off these points. Got some laydowns and stuff you can take a look at, some debris that's out here around that ramp. Some more trees and laydowns that are up here, a little brush pile up there. These bluff walls are always fun to fish around in the wintertime. A good brush pile out here, or just some brush to flip around, I think is what that is, just some brush to flip around. Some more brush in here. So you got lots of cool opportunities here. Good offshore stuff, but you've also got some good bluff walls, some good depth. You got a lot of brush that's back in here too that you can go and flip around. Debris, all kinds of stuff. So good stuff that's out there. If you're beating the bank, probably focus around these trees, places where I have the trees, and anywhere you see that brush, that's gonna be where you can get up there and do some flipping and stuff like that, as long as that water's high enough. And if it is, that's definitely gonna be a fun thing to do for sure. All right, let's keep going because we're gonna run out of time. Let's talk about foundations. Now foundations, when I click on it, it doesn't show up, and that's because I imported it in from Navionics. So now I gotta double click it. It's gonna move us back to the date that I imported this in, and you're gonna see there are tons of foundations on this lake. And why do I mark the foundations? Because again, they're great places to find fish, especially offshore fish. They've got a lot of debris around them. They got rock. They're typically hard spots. They're just great places to find fish. And you can see here, we've got several of them out here on Fort Gibson to take a look at. And some of them are in primo spots, like this one, right here off this point, right? These two right here off this point, this fairly shallow water, right? These are pretty deep. So they may be a little bit out of play, but any of these up here that are closer, you definitely want to check those out. At least do a scan by and see if you can see anything relating to them. Sometimes you'll see the bait fish relating to them, or you'll just see the fish relating to it as well. And getting in the backs of these things, here we go in this North Bay. You're back here, there's not much back here, but these foundations are dead center. So that's probably going to be a good stopping spot for something to stop before they get way back in this bay. So these foundations can be really critical places to find fish, so definitely take a look at those as well. All right, now let's skip over the offshore stuff, because I'll click it on for you just so you can see it. But these are all the offshore spots that we picked for Fort Gibson. And again, we're gonna switch over to the contour maps so we can see what those actually mean and why I even marked them. All right, we've got ramps and slabs. Now, if you've heard me talk about breakdowns before, ramps and slabs are great places to find fish as well. Just got to be respectful of who's using the ramp. But if you can find these old slabs or slabs that people don't use as much, those are really good as well. And then these boat ramps, if you get out here during the week and nobody's out any of these boat ramps, start fishing some of the boat ramps. You'd be amazed at the amount of fish that you can catch, just having basically a day where you say, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna fish ramps and slabs all day and we're gonna see what we catch. And you're like, holy cow, I caught a ton of fish just doing that. So sometimes it's the easiest things that are right in front of you that are the simplest places to fish. So go check that out. If you don't wanna fish the ramps and slabs, at least you have them all here so you know in case of emergency or something, you know where your closest ramps are. And then last but not least, we've got all the different rocky areas, right? You've got some places here where it's muddy and dirty, and then you've got other places where there's tons of rock. So we've gone through and we've marked all of the different rocky areas that are out here. And you can see pretty much there is a ton of rock on this lake, but it's kind of patchy, right? You have certain areas where you got rock and the other areas where obviously the bluff wall, so we're not gonna mark the bluff wall, but we've got all the different rocky areas marked, and some of this stuff is going to be a little bit further out. Like, I really like this right here. This looks like an old pond or something possibly, but some really good rock coming out around it. And you know, if the water's up, that's going to be really good. And I can't tell in this image, it looks like the water may be down just a hair, but some really good rock there. You've got some good rock here as well. So even though it's up close to the bank, you can still find some of these rocky spots, like this one's out a little bit, right? Those are those little sneaky little points that have those hard tops on them. You go here, this is just bankline rock, right? You can be cranking, shallow cranking, medium diving cranking, maybe throwing an A-rig parallel to it, stuff like that. So you've got all of that, and then you've got, you know, you get out here further, you get more of that rock where you're scanning against. I'm seeing if we can find any more of the rock that's kind of off the point a little bit, because those are the money spots, like right in here. Now this looks like a really good spot for a few different reasons. One, you can see the rock, the boulders and stuff that are here. But two, I can just tell by looking at it, that's some type of a channel, right? So that's the river that's coming back in here, and it's swinging this way, and it swings down here. And what's happening is it's swinging really close to this point. And when it does that, it disrupts the whole bottom, right? It makes it really rocky. It gives you lots of debris. Sometimes you'll find areas where the debris will pile up close to those swings or just after the swings. So this area right here, like where you see the rock right in here, I would definitely take a look at that. And maybe it doesn't swing there. Maybe it looks like it hits here and it doesn't. Maybe it swings further onto this side, but somewhere right in here, it's touching one of those sides, and the side that it touches is the side you want to be fishing. All right. That is it for the Google Earth breakdown. So here's everything when we put it all together and we click on it and we say, show us everything. This is the whole entire lake all put together. You can see we've got a ton of stuff out there to go fishing and to go look at. Now let's switch over to the Simplistic Fishing mobile app. Let's take a look at some of these offshore spots that we found on this lake. Switching over now to the Simplistic Fishing mobile app, let's take a look at Fort Gibson. I really want to use the app for looking at the offshore stuff, right? We already took a look at the Google Earth stuff, so let's take a look at the offshore stuff. So I'm just gonna come in here and I'm gonna click on waypoints. And it's gonna bring me up to this new Navionics chart, which is awesome. You can see all these different contours that are on here, and hopefully by the time this video gets out, you guys will have this. I'm still in test mode now, but hoping to release it next week. So today is 9/25, so hopefully very soon, right? Hopefully in about a week or so, we'll have it out there. But you can see we have all kinds of good stuff here. But let's go up. This shows us all the waypoints, right? So it's almost too much. So we're gonna go over here to the upper right-hand side, and we're gonna click on this filter waypoints button. And we're gonna scroll down. You can see all the different stuff that we looked at on Google Earth. It's all on here. We're gonna scroll down, we're gonna click on offshore. And when we do that, it's gonna narrow all of our waypoints down to just the offshore stuff. So let's take a look at some of these and really talk about, you know, some cool stuff here. One, the coolest thing about this lake is this river channel, right? This river channel that runs down the entire thing just sets you up perfectly for offshore fishing stuff. And it's not like this thing has a ton of points. It's got quite a few, but it's got some really good flats as well. So let's run through here and just take a look at them. These down here aren't as juicy, right? You've got this one down here on the swing that's pretty close. You got some good culverts and stuff that's in there. Got a pretty good point right there. This one looks really good. I really like this point right here. So let's back this off, kind of show you guys where I'm at. I'm coming up this side. This looks like a great place to find fish for sure. You've got a hump here, right? You've also got, looks like some type of a channel or something going through there. There's a roadbed that's close by too. It's gotta be close to that bridge somewhere probably. If not, then at least you got the bridge you could go check out. But this hump that's right in here, this looks really, really good. It's got that really good ledge there, and you can see there's some type of a channel or something that's really digging it out right in that area. That's gonna make that a very primo spot to go find some fish. So I really like that one. Again, up here, we're looking at the same thing again, right? When you're looking at that, any of these points really that we have here, you've got that nice ledge up top by that island that's there. So really good drop off right there. And then the following point that's just below it, that's got a really good creek channel swing or something going across it as well. So you know that's going to be juicy too. And you're going to see that throughout this lake on almost all these points. Well, maybe not on this right side, but on this left side, a lot of this stuff is related to that channel. Here's a hump that's close to the channel. You can see you've got really good ledges that are out there you could go check out. Anywhere you find these creeks where they come in and they meet that main river channel, where they create that break, you know, where they intersect, those are great places to find fish as well, right there around those intersections. Right in there, you know, where that ledge is that you can see there. Comes off, it's what, 30 foot? It probably drops down to 60 something foot. So some pretty deep fishing there, but I'm telling you, if you can find places like that, where those intersections are, those are great places. And these little humps that you see here, like this one in the middle, 11-foot hump, it's surrounded by, you know, 20, 30 foot of water. That's great spots, great spots. This little place right here, these are secret little spots because basically what you get is you get the roadway that's up there, and everybody usually just fishes the riprap that's there. But the truth is any of those little jet outs that you see along those roadways, those are usually the better places to fish. So you just kind of, instead of fishing that entire, say, 2 mile long roadway, don't fish the entire thing, just fish where you see these little breakouts, these little hump outs and things like that. So you fish there where that offshore spot is, and then you probably come here and fish around the entryways of that causeway or whatever, that bridge that you have there. So again, seeing all kinds of good stuff around this channel, right? All these different offshore stuff. You got a pretty decent little flat over here. It's got some ledges off of it too, up on the left. Again, moving up here, we're seeing that creek channel swing down and touch stuff. And as soon as it does, that immediately triggers that as a hotspot. So definitely a lot of good stuff on here. I won't cover them all, but you can see we've got a lot of them up here, and most of them are related to that channel. Not all of them, but most of them are related to those channels, and that's for a reason. So some good stuff as we scroll through here. So guys, I'm gonna wrap that up with that. Hopefully you've learned some stuff about Fort Gibson today and all the different tools that are out there. If you want the waypoints that we went over today, go out to our website, simplisticfishing.com. You can buy the SD card and import that into your graph, or you can get the digital files. Basically all that is the same thing. You're just gonna copy the files to your own SD card and put it into your graph. And then last but not least, if you really want to take a look at it and go even further, we've got the Simplistic Fishing app here as well that you could go take a look at. You can do the region, so you can do the entire region, which would include all the lakes that you see here, several different Oklahoma lakes, and pretty much every lake that we have in Texas is included in the South region. That's $19.99 a month. Or if you just want one lake, maybe you're just fishing Fort Gibson, it's $9.99 a month for the app for that lake, and you can pretty much have everything that we went over today. So go check it out, simplisticfishing.com, or go download the app on Google Play or Apple. Simplistic Fishing is the app name, and until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.